Hello, and welcome to our February 2024 episode of the Living the Wheel of the Year series on the Stop, Breathe, Feel, Create podcast. I'm your host, Lauren G. Koch, and these are short monthly episodes where I will share a brief forecast of the moon cycles, prompts for deepening our connection to intuition and self, all while finding magic in the mundane. You'll also find information on any special dates, such as equinox and solstice celebrations, that will deepen your connection even further to the rhythms of nature, following the wheel of the year, along with suggestions for magical correspondences you can add into your practice to deepen and amplify your intentions throughout the month. In this episode, we'll be exploring a few topics, including radical self-love, awakening authenticity and purpose, as well as developing intuition. Let's get started. As February approaches every year, my reflections turn to the connection I have cultivated with Bridget and the celebration of the Imbolc, a sacred time along the wheel of the year, which marks the awakening of the earth and the stirrings of life. Bridget is known as a Celtic goddess and Catholic saint, serving as a creative muse, keeper of the hearth and forge, and a well of healing energy. Throughout my journey, Bridget has become a guiding light and a mentor of sorts, as her ever-present energy found me and embraced me where I was, before I had even a working knowledge of her as a deity and saint. I've delved deeper into connecting to my Celtic lineage and exploring Bridget, and through that, I've found that this is often the case for those who have Bridget as a guide. And I would like to emphasize the accessibility of working with Bridget rather than sharing the exhaustive historic narratives that there are so many scholars available. I'll definitely share some of those in the show notes for you if you want to take a deep dive. Though knowing more about the celebrations and correspondences associated with Bridget can certainly be helpful in unifying within the greater community. I've found that deepening my connection with Bridget is as simple as inviting her energy into my heart before a healing session, before I take up my hammer at the forge. Because guess what? Yes, I am a blacksmith. And really any of my creative endeavors, but also inviting her to oversee and bless even the most mundane task throughout my day. This is when we start to feel her walk beside us on our unique journey through life. For me, her presence is a gentle reminder that beauty lies in the practical, in the shared moments of intentionality, in finding magic in the mundane. There are actually varying dates as to when Imbolc, the celebration for Bridget, is actually celebrated. For me, her presence is a gentle reminder that beauty lies in the practical, in the shared moments of intentionality, and finding magic in the mundane. There are actually varying dates as to when Imbolc, which is when we celebrate Bridget in many parts of the world. For me, her presence is a gentle reminder that beauty lies in the practical, in the shared moments of intentionality, and finding the magic in the mundane. And for many, the 1st of February is the time when they really connect to that. That is the celebration of Imbolc. And I found personally, especially considering that there's varying dates that people celebrate Imbolc, I've found that for me, in my personal practice working with Bridget, it's about bringing ease into our life and embracing lingering around the hearth. So the period between January and March is typically when I take time to celebrate, connect, and share Bridget's warmth, wisdom, and kindle the flame of inspiration. So I invite you to find the right time to connect in your own way. But some of the symbolism often associated with Bridget and in bulk that you might want to add into your practice are the colors of white and red, anvils because of blacksmithing, spoons and stew pots because of the hearth and home, and cattle. And for some, the familiar shape of the Bridget's cross, and candles and flames. Also, for some, the bulbs in our garden that are just starting to shit. And for some of us, the bulbs in our gardens that are just starting to send up the first bright green shoots out of the dark, cold soil. For me, this is especially the snowdrops. Here are some symbol Here is some symbolism that you might want to add into your practice that are associated with Bridget and Imbol. These could be the colors of white and red, anvils for blacksmiths, spoons and stew pots for hearth and home, cattle. For some, it could be the familiar shape of the Bridget's cross or candles and flame. And even yet, bulbs in our gardens. They're just starting to send out the first bright green shoots out of the dark, cold soil, especially snowdrops, which are a symbol of purity, often worn by maidens during celebrations of Candlemas, which is very similar to our celebration of Bridget and is a feast to the Virgin Mary and held on February 2nd. Before moving to Maryland, I had actually never seen a snowdrop in person. Down south, we predominantly have daffodils and tulips popping up this time of year. But the further north I've traveled, I see more hyacinths, crocuses, and snowdrops, especially this early in the season. And these nodding white flowers growing wild in the woodlands and meadows of our region have become a signal for me that spring is just around the corner. However, they're not actually even native to North America. And come to find out, they're ornamental transplants from the UK that I would say surely came across the Atlantic as colonizers wanted to bring a taste of home with them, as did many of our flowers. I'm curious to hear what ways spring starts to awaken in your region this time of year and what traditions your family practices. Feel free to message me or comment your experiences in the comments section. As we continue to move into February, we experience the new moon in Aquarius at 20 degrees, February 9th at 5:59 p.m. The energies will be great for out of the box thinking. Keep in mind that preparation is great for getting creative things started, but things don't always go to plan. Embrace going with the flow. The theme of community building and being social is very much still a thing this month. Use the Aquarian energy to remain detached and logical when traversing these social situations. Think of it more as a time for networking rather than connecting emotionally on a deeper level. Though these interactions should focus on quality and alignment. Remember to take time for inward reflection and self-care as well. As far as correspondences go, we want to embrace the colors of the season. Think of the shadows we might see in the snow late in the afternoon, purples, blues, violets. For crystals, selenite would be a simple go-to that's great for cleansing and opening space at this time. It's easily recognizable by its transparent to opaque, almost milky quality with long, flaky crystalline structures. This mineral is in the gypsum family, so be sure to keep it away from water. Rhodochrosite would be a great addition to your practice during February to expand higher consciousness and connect to intuition while amplifying feelings of compassion, deeper emotional connections, and openness to love without judgment or expectations. These gemstones are formed out of this gemstone is formed out of manganese carbonate and is often associated with roses because of its pink color and unique white striping patterns. Licorice root is one of my favorite correspondences to use during the winter, as it can serve to bring a mellow, natural sweetness to your herbal tea blends, as well as an additional boost to your chi or life energy, while providing balance in matters of love, passion, communication, fidelity, and control. Though used with caution, because overindulging in this plant medicinally can raise your blood pressure and is not recommended for those who are pregnant or dealing with heart, liver, or kidney conditions without proper medical advisement from both a trained medical practitioner and herbalist. Moving on, we reach the Lunar New Year as the moon moves into the sign of Pisces at 8:42 a.m. on February 10th. As we transition from the year of the water rabbit into the year of the wood dragon, I'm super excited because my Chinese zodiac sign is that of the dragon. Okay, but I know. Actually, I'm an earth dragon based upon my year, but don't take this away from me. I love dragon energy and it's really amping up. I can feel it. But let's unpack a little bit about what all of this means. Some folks refer to this as the Chinese New Year, also known as the Spring Festival, and it marks the beginning of the new lunar year, falling sometime between January 21st and February 20th. The celebration lasts for 15 days, with the Lantern Festival concluding the festivities. Each day is associated with specific customs and rituals. One of the most significant aspects of the Chinese New Year is the emphasis on family reunion. People travel long distances to be with their families, leading to one of the world's largest annual human migrations. I've had the pleasure of experiencing this vibrant celebration in the heart of Washington, D.C.'s Chinatown. It's quite the spectacle. Fireworks and dragon dancing are an integral part of the celebration. The loud noises and vibrant colors are believed to ward off evil spirits. You'll see red envelopes containing money, known as hung bao, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And they're given to children and unmarried adults as a symbol of good luck and prosperity. But while we were sitting enjoying our dinner, we actually saw the restaurateurs giving these envelopes to the children in the costumes, in the dragon costumes, as they were dancing around and bringing in some of the stuff. So I just love the vibrant traditions within the culture. And also, elaborate feasts, speaking of food, they are prepared featuring very symbolic foods, much like what we experience in the United States, southern states for New Year's, where we eat pork and greens to symbolize prosperity and wealth. The Chinese use dumplings for wealth, fish for prosperity, and noodles for longevity. But let's talk about the elements of water, wood, and earth that I mentioned earlier. There's only 4 elements, right? Earth, air, fire, water. Well, the Chinese element system, which is called Wuxing, I believe, again, check my pronunciation, dates back to the Han Dynasty, which refers to 5 major planets: Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, Mars, and Venus, which are believed to have created the 5 forces of earthly life. What changes about this system is they remove air, or some of us like to refer to that as spirit, and they add wood and metal. These five agents, wood, fire, earth, metal, water, explain a wide array of phenomena, including cosmic cycles, the interactions between internal organs, the succession of political regimes. It's crazy, right? And the properties of herbal medicines within Chinese traditions. And that's how I sort of started experimenting and researching more about all of this is because of herbalism. So, in this context, wood is associated with growth, flexibility, and creativity. And the element corresponds to the Chinese zodiac signs of the rat and the rabbit. Fire represents passion, energy, and motivation. And the element is linked to the Chinese zodiac signs for the snake and horse. Earth symbolizes stability, grounding, practicality. This one is often associated with the Chinese zodiac signs of the ox and dragon. And I happen to be an earth dragon. Earth symbolizes stability, grounding, and practicality. The element is often associated with the Chinese zodiac signs of the ox, dragon, dog, and sheep. Metal reflects strength, determination, and precision. This is often corresponding with the Chinese zodiac signs of the rooster and monkey. Water represents adaptability, intuition, and fluidity, and is often linked to the Chinese zodiac of the pig and the rat. So, as far as those signs being associated with certain elements, that does not really hold over to what we're talking about as far as the wood dragon or the water rabbit, as we've experienced the last 2 years. These elements go through a cycle, as do the animals that are represented in the zodiac system. So I believe it's a 70-year cycle. I'd have to double check that, but just know that everything flows through all of these elements and the animal signs. Okay, so side note on the Chinese zodiac calendar, I had said 70 years. I knew that seemed a little off, but I couldn't remember. And the reason why is with the zodiac animals themselves within the Chinese zodiac, they recur every 12 years. But the elemental animal only happens every 60 years. So I said 70, 60 is the correct number. I must have added them together is all I can figure. But that being said, so the animal itself, a rabbit, a dragon, a rooster, a dog, those come around every 12 years. And the elemental one, say this year's the wood dragon, we won't see that again for another 60 years. So we'll actually be 60 years old the next time the earth dragon comes back around. So I have a couple more years to wait for it to actually be within my literal sign of the earth dragon, but I'm going to celebrate it like it's mine right now, being the wood dragon. Anywho, continue on. So back to the symbolism of the dragon. It represents authority, dignity, and good fortune, and is traditionally associated with the Emperor of China. Dragons are often linked to longevity and wisdom, and mythically, this creature is believed to possess insight and is associated with the ancient Chinese wisdom. In Chinese folklore, dragons are associated with bringing rain, a vital element for agriculture. As a result, they're seen as bringers of life and prosperity. They're also considered protective guardians, capable of warding off evil spirits. Statues and images of dragons are commonly found in temples and homes throughout Asia and beyond for this reason. I use dragon energy a lot in my healing work. I work with Kuan Yin, and I have several dragons that are associated with my work. And I don't think it's just because I am a earth dragon either, as far as my zodiac symbol. I really believe that they can have some very powerful energies to work within our own subconscious and stuff. So if you work with dragons, I'd love to hear about your experience. But moving on, dragons are a popular motif in Chinese art, literature, and martial arts, and really beyond because of their symbolism of strength, courage, and tenacity. This Lunar New Year, we combine the characteristics of the dragon with the qualities of the wood element. And wood dragons are believed to be charismatic, diplomatic, and creative. They are associated with growth, adaptability, and the pursuit of ideals. Individuals born in the year of the wood dragon are thought to bring positive change and innovation. And from the ones that I know, I believe it. Next up on the calendar, we have Valentine's Day. Boo, grown, maybe. I don't know. I almost skipped talking about this holiday for many reasons, but I decided to unpack some of the intriguing facts and theories about it that contribute to this notorious holiday's hype. While the Wikipedia page attributes the origins of Valentine's Day to be associated with a feast day for St. Valentine's Day, oh my God. While the Wikipedia page attributes the origins of Valentine's Day to a Catholic feast for St. Valentine, the historical roots of this celebration are remarkably unclear. Indications suggest that it was likely evolved from a pre-Christian fertility celebration held in mid-February by the ancient Romans, known as the festival of Lupercalia. This serves as another reminder not to believe everything found on the internet. Side note, right? But however, Wiki is partially correct. There is indeed a feast of St. Valentine on February 14th. The plot thickens, however, when we discover that multiple saints named Valentine are recognized by the Catholic Church, which makes it difficult. However, Wiki is partially correct. There is indeed a feast of St. Valentine on February 14th. But the plot thickens, however, when we discover that multiple saints are named Valentine, recognized by the Catholic Church, which makes it difficult to know fact from legend at this point, especially where the factor of romantic love comes into play. But more on that. The association of Valentine's Day with romantic love began in the Middle Ages, thanks to the writings of Geoffrey Chaucer and his poem Parliaments of Fowls, and continued to gain popularity in the 17th century when the tradition of exchanging love notes or valentines really took off. As with any popular holiday, it's easier to market products with recognizable symbolism. We all are familiar with everything exploding in hearts, but let's look at some of the other symbolism that we might not know the information behind it. The mischievous winged child with a bow and arrow is known as Cupid, the Roman god of desire, erotic love, attraction, and affection. Red, pink, and white abound this time of year, which really sucks if you're like me and you're not a fan of wearing any of these colors. But red symbolizes love and passion. Pink represents affection and sweetness, while white is associated with purity and honesty. With the age of industry came the first mass-produced Valentine cards created in the 1840s in the United States by Esther A. Howland, known as the mother of Valentines. And the traditional of giving chocolates and roses date from around the same time period. While Valentine's Day is celebrated globally, different cultures have unique customs. Take this Japanese tradition where women give chocolates to men on Valentine's Day and men reciprocate on White Day in March. Valentine's Day has been playfully dubbed Single Awareness Day, or SAD, spotlighting self love and singlehood. While it's often spoken of humorously, let's be real. February can be a challenging month for many, regardless of your relationship status. Everything is bathed in red and pink hearts, cupids hovering about, and sentimental phrases reminding us of romance. It's as if we're doing something wrong if we don't receive flowers or have a hot date on this one day. Throughout, throughout my adult life, I've had a love hate relationship with Valentine's Day. Yet I'm immensely grateful for friends and family who consistently made it special for me, transcending the predefined definitions of the holiday, embracing love for the sake of love, which often gets overlooked as holidays co-opted by our capitalistic society diverts the celebration's energy from its core essence, making the day start to feel icky because it's fallen victim to comparison culture. So often I see people expressing love and gratitude only on specific days out of obligation. It's an act that they drop as soon as they're off social media or out of the public's eye. And I'd like to remind y'all that true embodiment of love and gratitude requires a daily commitment. Additionally, the media's focus is often that of a Additionally, the media's focus is often that of heteronormative couples in romantic relationships, alienating a significant portion of the population who doesn't fit the mold. This perpetuates self worth issues, loneliness, and further segregates our society based on race, financial status, and sexual preference. I'd like to emphasize something I've learned along the way. It's that romantic love and even friendship doesn't always fill the void. Loneliness can creep in when we're surrounded by loved ones and or we're in a healthy relationship. We all bear scars and triggers that can feel amplified around certain holidays like Valentine's Day. So for me, February has become a time of exploring radical self love and ways of allowing love to ripple out into my community on a daily basis, rather than restricting such an expansive emotion such as love into societal expectations. I encourage you this year to embark on a similar journey, opening up to various types of love that aren't always portrayed in the media. You can read more about my experiences and thoughts on Valentine's Day over in my blog from last year. I'll put the link in the show notes, by the way. Some things to keep in mind from an astrological viewpoint this Valentine's Day is yes, the moon will be shifting into the sensual sign of Taurus on February 14th. But I would encourage you to get out in nature and take time to slow down and regulate your nervous system before any interactions, as Mars conjoined with Pluto may cause some tension. Remain compassionate with yourself and others today. Remain compassionate with yourself and others on this day. Pause and relief. Remain compassionate with yourself and others on this day. Pause and release before becoming passionate in a way you weren't planning on. The sun will be entering the sign of Pisces on February 18th at 11:13 p.m. Look to your intuition to be heightened in this water sign. It may be time to turn inward as your social battery may run low and you start picking up on the emotions of others, making it a great time to work on cultivating your intuition through metaphysical pursuits such as journeying and divination. Tune in next week for the next pause episode discussing some of these ways to further connect to your intuition. As the shortest month of the year starts drawing to a close, we will experience the full moon at 5 degrees of Virgo on February 24th at 7:30 a.m. This is also known as the full snow moon, since certain parts of the northern hemisphere are blanketed in that devil's dandruff this time of year. Do y'all remember that SNL skit? I think it was like 2014 when the snowpocalypse hit Georgia or the South. Um, yeah, I won't go down that squirrel trail, but if you remember devil's dandruff, let me know. Moving through these energies, you'll need to work to find balance, working for both the collective good as well as following your own passions and intuition. This may seem counterintuitive, but remember you can't pour from an empty cup. And if you're needing an extra boost of self care or confidence so you can better turn up and serve the collective, it's time to do that. You need to embrace yourself as an authority in your respective area of genius and release those perfectionist tendencies. Unrealistic expectations can get us nowhere. So ease up on yourself and others right now while celebrating your awesome abilities that you're sharing with the world. For the full moon in Virgo correspondences, we will look to the colors of coming spring, white, yellow, and green for inspiration. Jade and carnelian would be great crystals to introduce into your practice during the full moon in Virgo. Both work with aiding and resolving emotional or spiritual issues to enhance self esteem by building confidence and acceptance to combat feelings of inadequacy while increasing creativity and physical energy. Jade is a silicate based mineral. Jade is a silicate based mineral of two varieties jadeite, which can be nearly colorless to Jade is a silicate-based mineral of two varieties. Jadeite, which can be nearly colorless to white, with hints of green, lavender, yellow, orange, brown, and black. And then there's nephrite. It's typically more the vibrant jade colors that we are used to. This is going to be the greens, although there's yellow, white, and black that can occur. Carnelian, this one's one of my favorites, y'all, is a brownish orange to red silica mineral known as a chalcedony, which is colored by the impurities of iron oxide. And believe it or not, it's actually the Maryland State gemstone. I found that out today. Integrating mugwort into my practice during this season holds great significance for various reasons. Beyond its potential support for digestive issues, irregular menstruation, high blood pressure, itchy skin, and scarring, mugwort also serves as a versatile herb as a sedative, laxative, and liver tonic because of its properties. Utilizing mugwort in the form of tea and smoke cleansing during this time not only aids in physical well being, but also fosters a deeper connection to intuition and spirit. However, it's crucial to exercise caution when incorporating any herbs into your routine, and it's advisable to avoid mugwort, specifically if you're pregnant or breastfeeding. As we transition into March, Mercury will be shifting to conjoin with Neptune in Pisces. So during this period of time, as February draws to a close, you may experience a psychic boost. So don't forget to start honing your intuition throughout the month of February in preparation. Communication may be a little funky, so work on clarity to avoid confusion. Honor your body's needs to recharge and explore creatively. And you may find gentle movement like yoga, qigong, and meditation helpful if your body is not embracing the flow of this water energy. Well, there you have it, folks. I hope you have a wonderful month. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe across the podcast and social media platforms so you don't miss a thing. We will be exploring deepening our connection to intuition during the monthly pause episode. And Katie Moore, a fellow priest in the Order of Melchizedek, Reiki practitioner and psychic medium, will be my guest on this month's installment of Igniting the Flame, where I connect with other light bringers, change makers, and creatives. Remember, when you become a Patreon supporter, you'll be able to access even more behind the scenes content, as well as inspiring and educational material to deepen your connection through creativity, mindfulness, and nature. As a supporter, you will also be fueling the ongoing creation of content just like this. Many blessings and much love. Don't forget to stop, breathe, feel, create.